This last type of bias that we're going to talk about is the one that I find the most interesting. And this one is interesting because this is where psychology and statistics kind of overlap. So you get the social sciences with the hard sciences together, and it's really pretty fascinating. So response bias occurs when anything in the survey design influences the responses. So this can be factors such as the tone of voice, the body language, the dress, gender, authority, ethnicity of the interviewer might influence responses. So the race or sex of an interviewer can influence responses to questions about race relations, perhaps things like Black Lives Matter or other race issues, or they can influence attitudes towards feminism. This could also be the age of the interviewer. So if somebody in their late 80s came around the dorms knocking on the door wanting to ask you questions about sex and drug use, you might not be as open and forthcoming as you would with somebody that's your own age, right? So any of those things that can really, you can't really change that except for to, get a different person to interview or find an impartial way of asking these questions, but those will all influence those responses. Answers to questions that ask respondents to recall past events are often inaccurate because of faulty memory, right? If you ask me what I had for lunch 10 days ago, I don't remember. I could try and guess or make something up. That faulty memory is also subject to things like, what did you see on the table versus did you see the cup? Did you see a cup? Right? Those tend to imply different things. So all of those can kind of lead into some bad answers. Something I call the do the right thing effect. So for example, people know that they should vote. So if you go around and ask, hey, did you vote in the last election? A lot of people will say they did, even if they didn't, because that's the socially acceptable answer. Okay. Wording effects are the most important influence on the answers given to a sample survey. Confusing or leading questions can introduce strong bias, and variation in wording can greatly change a survey's outcome. We're going to take a look at that in just a little bit. And that's really fun. Looking at how you ask those questions can really sway how those answers come out. And even the order in which the questions are asked makes a difference in those responses. So we'll take a look at both of those last two in just a little bit.